There's a beautiful Zen story of the 10 bulls, which describes the journey of a seeker searching for the bull, which is the first bull. Searching for the bull. The practitioner starts with the acknowledgement that they are lost from their true nature. That is the beginning, the starting point. Assuming that this bull is enlightenment. First, when you are introduced to the idea, it is a total surprise. Your mind completely rejects the idea. It goes very contradictory to your understanding of life. Because before you were introduced to that idea, you had no conception of its existence. And when you were introduced to it, you started searching for it. The first stage is searching for the bull. Then discovering the footprints. Initial understanding or glimpse of the dharma. Through some method, through some technique, through some teaching, you get the first sense that there is something more to me than what I have experienced up until now. It could be a faint something. It can be a far distant echo. But when you hear it, when you connect with it, you know this is something different. It is not something you are familiar with. It is not a thought. It is not a desire. It is not a body sensation. In fact, I cannot even describe what this is, but it's there. That is catching the first glimpse of the footprints of enlightenment. Seeing the bull. Catching sight of the true nature, but only fleetingly. Then through regular practice, a day will come when it becomes clear. Of course, you don't know this bull in its entirety, in all its dimensions, but it is visible. You know this path gets you closer to it, this path takes you far away. That is the first glimpse of the truth, seeing the bull. There are innumerable teachers, the so-called meditation teachers, so-called even enlightened teachers who are at this level. They have seen the bull. They know what enlightenment is. They know what path gets you there. So they talk about it, they teach it. They describe it in as many different ways as possible. But what they don't realize is there are 7 more steps after this. After an intellectual realization of what enlightenment is, begins the actual journey. This bumping the head and realizing that you're enlightened is this first 3 stages. Somehow, accidentally, you are just given a glimpse of the truth that you are something more. It feels amazing. It feels like a totally transcendental experience that you've had because nobody else has had that experience. You were accidentally given a glimpse of something. It is very easy to think without a teacher, without guidance. It is very easy to assume that this is it. And then you create all kinds of stories around it. Why did it take 3 years for Buddha to become enlightened after he decided to sit still? And why did it happen to me suddenly? Past life. I was ripe for realization. All kinds of ideas and concepts to avoid the fact that there's still much traveling. Then there is catching the bull. Struggling with the practice, facing the challenges of attachment and the wild mind. You have to play with the mind. You have to understand the mind. You have to go deeper and connect with it. That is why there is absolutely no substitute for zazen in enlightenment. There is no substitute for sitting still, because it's only when you sit still you are confronting the mind directly. Irrespective of the technique you're using, you're coming back to that place where you are watching the mind exactly where it is, what it's doing. You're not thinking about the mind, you're not contemplating on it, you are actually watching the mind. That is a battle. This has nothing to do with intellectual understanding. Here, you are entering an experiential dimension. You are actually bumping into a thought, knowing fully well that you are not a thought. So, every conversation that arises in your mind, you scrutinize, you watch it, because it is not you who's speaking. It is this parasite that has taken over. It is this creeper that has girdled over the tree of life, which is you. It is producing fruits, it is producing flowers, it has its own fragrance, it is drawing the nourishment. But it is not you. You have to figure out how to stop nourishing this creeper and stay closer to the tree, so that eventually you discard this creeper and you become what you are. Now, this is not intellectual. You cannot just say, I'm not the creeper, I'm not the creeper, I'm not the creeper. It won't work. Because who's saying this? It is the creeper that is saying it. Intellect, it belongs to the mind. It does not belong to your being. That's the problem. Intellectual realization is not yours because intellect is not yours. It is part of the mind. Then, taming the bull. Through persistent practice, beginning to find joy and peace in the practice itself. There will come a moment when you will experience the joy of having tamed this most vicious, most violent, most forceful wild beast, which is your mind. All other beasts of existence are already tame when compared to this, because this can turn anything into a problem. Your mind is the beast that has to be tamed. And when you're able to accomplish that, you've regained control of your life. That is feeling of joy. That is feeling of contentment. And this, you cannot do it by thinking about it or by reading books. You have to do zazen. Then, riding the bull home. Attainment of enlightenment, where practice and daily life become one. You've not only seen the bull, you've not only caught it, you've not only tamed it, now you're riding it. Your effort is gone now. You can peacefully sit on this bull and you can instruct it. Why is it a bull? Because mind is extraordinarily powerful. And if you can tame it, if it is under your control, how useful will it be? Enlightenment is that moment when you are above and beyond the mind. It is that first moment when you are fully in control of the mind. So much in control of the mind that you even drop the mind. It's only when you come back, you pick up the mind and you know that you are picking it up. That is riding the bull home. And then the bull transcended. Complete transcendence where there is no distinction between the self and enlightenment. It is total merger. There is not even a thought of the mind. There is not even thinking, I have to tame this beast. It's gone. That is the bull transcended. Then both bull and self transcended. All dualities and distinctions are dropped. Here, even that I is dropped. Not only the mind is dropped, but also this conception of I am is dropped. And then reaching the source, returning to the origin where everything is seen as it is with simplicity and clarity. Finally, you've come back home. You've dropped the imaginary part of your being and you've become what you have always been. You are in a state of total freedom, total liberation. It is a state that cannot be described. It is a state you cannot even conceptualize. You have to be there to know what it feels like. And then the last is return to society. The enlightenment practitioner returns to the world, living freely and working for the benefit of all beings. This is the completion of his journey. Because you are still a human. Yes, you are a being, but you're also a human, so you have a responsibility to share what you have realized. That completes your human journey. Because life is meant to touch another life. And if you've been touched by the most beautiful of things, why do you want to keep it to yourself? Give it, share it. That completes your journey. Now, this is the completion of the journey of enlightenment. Intellectual realization is first few steps, that's it. Rest everything is zazen. It happens when you sit quiet. It happens when you pick up a discipline. It happens when you have a teacher to guide you along these paths. It is not assuming that you know, it is knowing that you know.